In Module 2 of this training, you're going to learn the 3 primary safety drills that are conducted in schools. If other drills are conducted in schools where you teach or in your district, you may want to study those drills and make sure you know the policies and procedures of that specific school and the entire school district. The drills that we're going to discuss in this section are shelter in place, lockdown, and evacuation. Conducting these drills on a regular basis throughout the semester or over the course of the entire year is going to leave your campus better prepared to deal with crisis situations. It will offer a peace of mind to students, to faculty, and staff as they practice and rehearse these activities. And just like fire drills, a shelter in place, a lockdown, or an evacuation will become just another activity instead of a traumatic event. The first drill we're going to talk about is shelter in place. Now, a shelter in place restricts movement within the building, but allows visitors and others access to the building during a crisis or critical incident. Now, it may be implemented when a situation occurs that is a hazard to health or is life-threatening. Again, it's used to keep students, faculty, and staff inside the building instead of exposing them to harm by allowing them to leave the building. Tornadoes, wildfires, and hurricanes may all trigger a shelter in place. Securing students within the facility while keeping the building open so that others may seek shelter from the hazard. Once a shelter in place is called, it remains in effect until the all clear is given by school officials or emergency responders. A shelter in place may be called by school officials or other agencies, such as emergency responders or local weather agencies. A shelter in place may also be called by any staff member with knowledge of an immediate danger to the campus. Remember, a shelter in place and lockdown are not synonymous terms. While both contain the students and staff, a shelter in place allows individuals from outside of your building to seek shelter from potential hazards. A shelter in place may be called to contain the school while allowing others to seek refuge, to control and manage students, and to reduce potential victimization from catastrophic events. A lockdown procedure, on the other hand, is intended to limit access and hazards by controlling and managing staff and students, to increase safety and reduce the possibility of victimization. Now, once a lockdown is called, doors and windows are locked inside and outside, and no one moves. No one is allowed to enter or leave the building, and it stays in effect until an all clear is given by campus officials or emergency responders. As a teacher, make sure you know your school's specific policy on when a lockdown is canceled after it's been started. Now, a lockdown can be called by campus officials, law enforcement agencies, or other emergency responders. It may be called for a wide variety of reasons, including weapons on campus, intruders, or police activity occurring in or around the school. It can be called because of contamination or hazardous materials or even terrorist events. Now, during a lockdown, make sure that you lock all doors and windows and that the classroom is kept secure, that students are moved away from the windows and doors and out of the line of sight of potential offenders. Students and teachers will remain quiet and in their classroom until the lockdown all clear signal is given, and no one is allowed to enter or leave the building. Local authorities can be called if specific assistance is needed during a lockdown. Now, these were a few generalizations about lockdowns. Remember, the lockdown should be tailored specifically to your campus and to your school district, so these may not apply in all situations. As a teacher, make sure that you read your school's policies and procedures. The final drill we want to discuss is evacuation. And there are 2 primary types of evacuation: an on-site evacuation and an off-site evacuation. Now, a typical on-site evacuation can be something as simple as a fire drill, where students are removed from the classroom on-site to another part of the property, like a playground or athletic field, but on the campus. An off-site evacuation is where students and staff are physically removed from the campus. Now, you can have a primary off-site evacuation that may be across the street, like at a local church or a public park. Or you can have an off-site evacuation where you transport students and staff to a reunion site. Make sure that you know your school's policies on both on-site and off-site evacuations. Finally, let's take a minute to talk about the reunion site. Now, the reunion site, or reunification site as it's sometimes referred to, is a specific location designated in advance where students and staff safely reassemble and where they're reunited with their parents and loved ones. Reunion sites are located in appropriate sized facilities such as large churches, civic centers, or fairgrounds, and they're easily accessible to transportation. They have lots of parking for buses and emergency responders, support vehicles, and those moms and dads who want to be reunited with their children. If possible, reunion facilities should be areas where both students and staff can be secured, and where both pedestrian and vehicle traffic is controlled and monitored. Make sure that as a teacher, you have in your packet information that lists where the reunion site is and how to get there. By knowing and understanding these three basic drills, shelter in place, where we're going to restrict the movement in the building but allow others to seek access or shelter in the building, lockdown, where we're going to restrict movement in the building and outside of the building, and evacuation, where we're going to move staff and students to a safe location away from the classroom or off-site, you'll be able to keep your students and yourself safer and more secure.